What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the world according to Briggs. Have you ever had an IQ test? Were you like me? Did you fear you'd do so poorly that they would actually chase you out of the building and maybe bar you from ever holding public office? Years later, you realize most politicians must have gotten really low scores. When talking about intellect, the IQ test is a measurement that tends to be brought up in the conversation. Now, to be fair, the IQ test is not the most accurate way of determining someone's intelligence. After all, it's nearly impossible to fully calculate someone's intellect because it's not a variable that you could put a number on, like your height or your weight, but it is a number that they give a person, sort of like a ballpark estimate of what's going on in their brain, or in this case, an entire state's brain. About 68% of the United States have an IQ between 85 and 115. Only a small fraction of people are below 70, and an even smaller fraction are above 130. The average IQ in the United States is 98. Now that I've given you that disclaimer, let's take a look at the values that have been calculated for the average IQ scores of each of the 10 lowest states. Number 10, Tennessee. The first settlement in Tennessee was set up at Boone's Creek in 1769. William Bean built a cabin for his family, and several settlers from North Carolina joined him. Tennessee's economy is centered on textiles and livestock, jobs that don't require advanced degrees or big thinkers. They are big in electrical power, which takes some of that their education they always talk about. The state has over 82,000 farms, 60 of which are used to raise cattle. Not a lot of thinking jobs in Tennessee, as one man put it. The average IQ score in Tennessee is 97.7. Not too far below average, still respectable. Number 9, Arkansas. The estimate for the 2020 population of the natural state is 3.04 million residents. That makes Arkansas the 29th fastest growing state in the United States. Let's hope they bring some bigger brains into the state with the new people. Now, they've had some smart people in the past. Former President Bill Clinton is also a native son of the state. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the man had some smarts. And that's where it kind of ends. The state ranks 4th in the country in lumber production and 1st in lost fingers to a garbage disposal. You probably thought that was wrong because most people in Arkansas don't have garbage disposals. They just feed it all to the hogs. They actually made a law in 1947 that officially discouraged the mispronunciation of Arkansas while in the state. The average IQ in Arkansas is 97.5. Number 8, Arizona. Arizona was acquired from Mexico in 1848, and they got a little more in 1853. It was established as a territory in 1863 from the New Mexico Territory. In 1866, it was given what its current state boundaries are. Arizona was admitted as a state on February 4th, 1912, and in the subsequent 108 years, they've had limited success when it comes to learning. It seems all those years on the bottom of the educational funding heap are finally paying off. Arizona performed below average on all the metrics, but it did the worst on the ACTs, for which it was ranked 44th, and the state ranked 39th for the percentage of college graduates, and 25th for SAT scores. The average IQ in the state of Arizona is 97.4. Number 7, Nevada. While much of Nevada's economy is tied to the vice industries, gambling, drinking, that type of stuff, the state also relies on mining and cattle ranching as economic drivers. Billions of dollars of gold is mined in this state every single year. 79% of the gold mined in the United States comes from Nevada. It's almost 9% of the world's production. I would explain their silver mining, but that dried up about 100 years ago. But they still call themselves the Silver State. That's kind of dumb. Less than 25% of Nevada's population has completed a 4-year degree. The average IQ in Nevada is 96.5. That's almost a full point drop from number 8 on this list. Number 6, New Mexico. The land of enchantment has a host of problems, with education normally being towards the top of that list. It's usually right above crime, poverty, and the number of residents that can't spell enchantment. They have a couple facts that would indicate they should have a better IQ than they actually do. 1 in 4 workers in New Mexico work for the federal government. You'd hope they'd have some pretty sharp cookies working for Uncle Sam, but maybe not. This one is strange. New Mexico has more PhDs, meaning more doctors, per capita than any other U.S. state. Now, maybe It's because they don't have a lot of people. They're ranked 37th in population, and so the averages are a little weird, but 75% of the state also doesn't have paved roads, so they've got a lot of country people that really don't have a need for higher education. The population of sheep and cattle in New Mexico exceeds the population of people. Now again, we have another almost full point drop from the state before. The IQ in New Mexico is 95.7. Number 5, Alabama. The Yellowhammer State doesn't really focus too much on education. A friend who is very much the conspiracy type says they do it on purpose so the average resident isn't smart enough to see how corrupt they are. I started seeing his point when he sent me a thing that showed that the Constitution of Alabama is one of the longest in the US. It contains over 700 amendments. Most of them contain 100, 150. They've got 700. Maybe he's right. Alabama does rank 50th overall in education. They came in 47th in higher education and 49th in K through 12. The IQ in Alabama on average is 95.6, almost even with New Mexico, which by the way was ranked 49th in education. Number 4, Hawaii. Hawaii is composed of 132 islands. It is the only state that is made up entirely of islands. Tourists only visit like the 6th largest, and that's why most of you think that I'm wrong in my count. They do have some very small islands that some consider islands and others consider just rocks in the water. So you might see different stats that say they have about 140 islands. Now, a lot of them don't have residents, and some of the ones that do really don't focus on the book learning stuff. They still beat Alabama and New Mexico and a few others in education, at least from K through 12th grade. They don't have a lot of people acing the SAT and ACT tests. That's their biggest problem. Once they get to about 12th grade, most of them that's it. And they do have a pretty high dropout rate also. The average IQ in Hawaii is 96.6, just like New Mexico. Number 3, California. California has some extremely smart people. Sadly, they live in about 9% of the state. Most of the eastern section of the state doesn't really put a strong emphasis on education. When it comes to higher learning, California is ranked 4th in the nation, which is solid. They have great colleges, universities, and some really good trade schools. Now, side note to this, trade schools are an incredible asset to this country. Everyone assumes you need to have a college degree. That's the old mindset. The thing is, some kids have neither the ability or the desire to become an accident or personal injury attorney. This country stops without electricians, plumbers, and auto mechanics. And most kids don't really look forward to having $60,000 in student loan for their French literature degree. Okay, I'm done with my public service announcement. Like I said, they are ranked 4th in higher education, but 40th, 40 in K through 12. That's where they ranked. That's kind of a big difference, you know? The average IQ score in California is 95.5. You'd expect them to be a lot better with all the things going on there. Number 2, Louisiana. Louisiana is the largest crawfish producer in the world, accounting for 90% of the world's supply. Producer sounds like you're manufacturing something. They're just pulling this out of the water. You know, that's weird, but they call it producer. Anyway, the seafood industry supplies about 16,000 jobs to the state's residents. The state's location at the mouth of the Mississippi River Delta is key to the state's economy. There are a lot of industries in the Pelican State just like this that need little or no education, and it shows. As a result, they rank 49th in higher education, 46th in K through 12th grade. Now, this is where it gets ugly. The average IQ in Louisiana is 95.2. That's pretty low. And number 1, Mississippi. Welcome back, Mississippi. You're at the bottom again. The Magnolia State is sort of at a turning point. About 10 years ago, they were the bottom of the barrel in education. If NASA sent a probe looking for intelligent life to Mississippi back then, it would come back empty. Maybe pictures of some dude licking the camera. That's about it. Mississippi has gotten better in their education in the last several years. Now, I'm sure their IQ will be going up considerably in years to come. Currently, they have far too many adult residents that went through a subpar education system, and it shows. In the past, the schools in Mississippi were ranked 50th. Currently, they're 45th. And when they were 50th, they were well below like the 49th scores. That is the same story with almost every stat in the Magnolia State. When they're at the bottom of the barrel, they're outpacing the next one up by a good clip. The residents know this, and that's why the comment section, they never dispute the numbers. They just cry about the way I pronounce the state's name. I say it Mississippi. I say it really fast. My father's from there. That's how they say it. That's how I learned to say it. But apparently you have to say Mississippi, or I don't know. You can't even tell the difference. Only they can, and that's all they ever complain about. The average IQ in Mississippi currently is 94.2. Alright, so that's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Don't forget all the links below. If you like what I do here, please subscribe. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.